doing a job where I need to cut some angle iron and some round rod. The brushes have gone on my chop saw. How do I know? There's some violent sparking, some popping accompanied with it, and a really strong foul smell. It's discontinued. I've had to order the parts. There'll be a few weeks to come in, but in the meantime, I need to finish the job, get it to powder coating. So this little hack is going to do the trick. Some tips to avoid this kind of downtime is to not run your chop saw for too long consecutively. When you have a heavy job, do some cuts, give it a chance to rest. In the meantime, you can move to another stage of manufacturing, come back, finish your cutting. Overheating can damage the brushes and shorten their life. A caveat about this hack: it is not a repair. It is simply a way to buy some time with your tool so you can finish your jobs if you're waiting for the parts to come in, as I am in this situation. Another caveat: this will not work if the brushes have worn down and become too short and there's not enough spring pressure to keep them pressed against the electric motor with enough force. So there'll be two of them. You'll see two of them on the motor housing. Here we have one, and then opposite we'll have the other. We'll start with this one. Just turn counterclockwise. Shouldn't be too tight. When you retighten it as well, you don't want to have it too tight. Now it's spring loaded. That's a good sign, because if it's too far worn down, then there won't even be any pressure or tension against this spring. You can see it is quite worn. You can see there are grooves. It's also misshapen on the end. So I'm just going to look to flatten that and smooth it out. Of course, a new one will be longer, but there's not much I can do about that. I'm just going to see if I can get it working. Got some 220 paper. Also have some 600 paper. We'll start with the 220. I just want to flatten this out. So on a flat surface, I'm just going to work it back and forth gently, trying to apply equal pressure. I want everything to be smooth and still square. So I've got it fairly smooth. Now I'm going to move to the 600 grit. Now with the 600 grit, same thing. Just really trying to make that surface nice and smooth. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. So take as little off as possible, because really you want this to be as long as it can be so that you've got good pressure and contact. Now finally, to make sure it's really smooth, I'll go to the paper side and just do the same thing. Equal pressure, nice and smooth. So now that I have it smooth, I'll do the other one. Putting them both back in. Not too tight. After performing the sanding, we can see that the sparking is a lot less, but there's still a little bit on this one. And then we see the opposite side is fine. So what that probably indicates is that the overall length and hence pressure that that spring can apply to that carbon brush against the motor is not enough. But it's enough to get me through the few small jobs I have until the parts come in that are on order. After those small jobs are done, I'll shelf the tool till the parts come in and it's fixed properly.